My name is Jill, and welcome to this great big discussion in this tiny little format in this small amount of time. And if you saw from the title, it's kind of a vast, vague conglomeration of ideas, but somebody recently sent me a trailer for a movie called and basically that really is talking about more of the spiritual New Age indigenous prophecies or ideas that we as humans are evolving into something else, and we're here to take care of the earth in a new way, and there'll be this magical spiritual transformation of peace, love, and sustainability. The other side, this earth catastrophe cycle,
The ultimate installment in a series of episodes is called the finale, but this is actually where the story begins in many ways. The story of the catastrophe is yet to be written, perhaps with many of us as co-authors in the process.
Is really focused on the fact that geologically, evidence from both the cosmos and on Earth points to a literal catastrophe versus sort of a metaphorical magical transformation or ascension process or something, that's going to happen without any effort. So the big split between all of these ideas is, we're looking at a new agey indigenous prophecy, kind of magical version of something on Earth is going to happen and transform us into being a different human, more evolved. We'll wake up and be peace, love, and sustainability. Although I'm not sure how that's supposed to happen if we can't do it now. To the other side of science, logic, and reason, that's really looking at the geology, the literal rocks and what's happening in the cosmos and with the sun.
The starting point of the current and foreseeable future genesis point of observation of the catastrophe, the sun.
And all of that points to a literal and not metaphorical catastrophic event. And so we have these radically different directions, and you can couple in with religion saying that somebody's going to come back and save us. You can add in some AI, that the technology will save us, or we can go with the ET alien version saying that there's some master race out there that's going to come back and save us. And the thing that I hear consistently is somehow, somewhere, something out there is going to come in and save the earth and humans, and then everything's going to be okay. So what's the point of this video? Mostly it's just to make this really important point. As you know, I've been spending over a year now trying to develop these ideas and where I fit into all of this. And that's really what I'm calling that primal. Because the consistent thing that I completely agree with from science and from, I don't want to say fantasy, but from the spiritual, is that we are changing, whether we think that's some kind of purely consciousness, energetic process that's happening, or the cosmic rays that are coming into our earth and our system and our bodies and literally rewiring us, literally changing our DNA and our RNA in a very fundamental place, that things are changing. So I don't think anybody can really ignore that as a fact. Something's happening. The consistent issue is we don't know what it is. And lots of people are just grabbing onto their version of reality because this is what's going to happen, because that puts us all into our comfort zone. The more control we have out there, the more control we feel in here. But here's the rub, and this is where I really want to finally step away from every single pack. So just because I finally got over a little bit in my subscribers, here we go. We're going to crash one more time, probably many more times. This is just the last and the latest wave of crashing. But the bottom line is the only thing that we have control over is ourselves. And my understanding, for having studied this for over 40 years, in every religion and every spiritual tradition and every scientific explanation that I could get my hands on, which is a lot, is that the essence of the human experience is our own ability to master power, control, and responsibility. And I can tell you in 25 years as a social worker, nobody wants to take responsibility. The very essence of being a victim is trying to give away your power, control, and responsibility so you don't have to have it for yourself. Scary global elite people love power and control, and they're happy to take your responsibility. So it's a very complex system that we're working within as humans.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
We are, as humans, I believe, extremely delusional and immature. And I don't say that to be critical or judgmental. I say that in that we have to be very careful in that we have to make the decision. Do we seek information that reinforces our belief system? Are we seeking information that's telling me what I want to believe is true? Or are we seeking information that is challenging me, you, us, to hear something we need to hear to further our own understanding? And that second piece is really hard, which is why people don't do it. And I have said this over and over and over, that nothing changes until we're willing to know what we don't want to know. And so I'm going to give you a really simple test because, as you know, I have ongoing issues with my hand and my arm, and my hand is, from repetitive use, is just a mess. But part of that process is me continuously looking for exercises to release the fascia, but in addition to do strength and stretching. So I ran across a test, and the reason I'm offering this to you, because I believe our work here is to fully develop ourselves as human, literally, meaning physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It doesn't matter what's going on out there. The only reason we're here is to manage ourselves, to master ourselves, and that whatever's going on out there is just context. So with that said, here's a really simple test. If you can put your hands together, how flat do your hands go? Because they're supposed to go way flatter. And then the second test is when you straighten your hands out, what are your pinkies doing? This one is getting straighter. It used to be really curved because I couldn't extend it. And then the next test is, can you touch your fingers to your palms? I can't get my pinkies down there without some help. I can do this finger. I can't do this finger. But we should be able to do that. We should be extremely mobile and agile in our bodies. Most of us aren't, and the older we get, the stiffer and the less flexible we get, and that reduces our ability to actually function as a human in this world. I'm making this video because I sit and watch what people are talking about, and I try to take in the information, but there's just massive inconsistencies with the facts and the statistics about where we are as a human. We're sick, we're lonely, we're isolated, we're depressed, we're anxious, we're dying of multiple chronic diseases. Indigenous people are suffering like crazy. We're destroying the earth. There's all this stuff that's happening. The flip side is we've romanticized that indigenous or tribal people or nature is fabulous, and then we'll just go back and we'll magically all get along. Those to me are just these wild extremes that nobody's putting on their clear glasses, but there's lots of people wearing rose-colored glasses. And I think it's time to have a real conversation. It's a time to have a growing up conversation. I've said there's a huge difference between waking up and growing up. If your hand isn't agile with dexterity, your quality of life is going to be immensely compromised. And so whether the scenario is you have to gather, chop wood and carry water because the world as we know it has ended due to an earth cycle catastrophe, or you're chopping wood and carrying water because you now live in some magical kingdom where we are at one with the earth, living peacefully forever, we still have to chop wood and carry water. But in both of those scenarios, true or not, it is imperative that we strengthen the structure to contain that new energy. And that's really the piece that I see that's missing in a great big way. Business as usual just isn't going to work. And that requires the hardcore, nitty-gritty, doing the work that I call getting primal, staying human to get primal. So with that, as usual, I yabbered on way too long. So we're going to take a deep breath. I'm going to see you next time. And until then, who knows what's going to happen. But you do know you can practice this.
It's the end of the world as we know it.